Everyone, thanks for doing this youth group version of Wendy and I and Ella. We used to watch. We don't watch too much anymore, but Guy's Grocery Games. If you know Guy Fieri, he's got the big white hair at the top, and he's kind of crazy, and he's a lot of fun to watch. And he had a competition. He still does. It's morphed over the years, called Guy's Grocery Games. They take amateur cooks, contestants, good cooks, high quality cooks, and they all compete. And he throws in a variety of different obstacles and ways where he makes the event that much harder, where their food is being judged, and eventually they're eliminated. So I took that idea and I morphed it, and I took elements out of it that I thought would be fun for us. So in the web version or the text version of this, there's a YouTube link. That's one episode. I didn't watch the episode. I don't know if I've seen that one or not, but you get a basic gist of what the show looked like. So here's our drivers. I know for sure I've got Kim, Becca, Ryan, and Carlson's. So they could hold, I'm going to guess that would hold about 20 students. I might be adding also the Woods. And then I could drive as well if needed. That would be up to 30 students then possibly, which that sounds like a lot. But the day before the event, our tent makers are going to do a calling marathon to all of our students, since this is our first summer event, and tell them, hey, we'd love to have you come. So I'm hoping for high numbers, and I'm planning for high numbers. But if I don't need to drive, that's just fine, because moving around is a part of it for me. That actually works better if I don't drive. So rough schedule, students are going to arrive at 6. Right away, we'll wait a few minutes for students to show up, and 5 after, 7 after. We'll go over rules. We'll split up the students into teams, and as I split them up in teams, I'm going to try to put them in at least like where each student has somebody else that they know, but I'm going to try to mix some junior high with some high school at the very same time. There'll be a first event, and the first event is going to be, I'm probably going to hide some balloons around the building, and inside the balloons will be the thing that they get to control. So when they find their balloon, their team, they've got to go run, they've got to find the balloon and bring it back to me. Once all the balloons are found, we'll pop the balloons, and then inside the balloon will be, it'll be like, what are they controlling? Are they controlling the number of items? Are they controlling the ethnicity of the meal? Are they controlling the dollar value for the meal, or are they controlling the type of meal, breakfast, lunch, dinner? So when that is figured out, like when we know who's controlling each one, then there'll be a couple of just small individual, like roll a dice or spin the wheel, something like that, which will determine what thing that they've got. So like going into this, I have no idea like what the meal is going to be. If it's going to be breakfast, lunch, I don't know that. I don't know how many food items they're going to be allowed to have. It'll be 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, something like that. I don't know that. That's going to be determined then. I don't know what the budget is. I'm going to give them, I'm going to have some parameters or some options. There might be a mystery ingredient that they have to use as well on top of that. So once that's all figured out, then they're going to get into their cars, and they're all going to travel to Target. The Target that's right on the north end of town, just a mile or two from here at the church. And I chose that Target because it's as geographic centered to where all the homes are that are the cooking is happening at. It's not perfect, but it's the best that I could kind of fathom. Plus, it's close to the church, and it's easy to get to on the highway. So then after that, students will, after they've shopped, when they shop, they'll be given like 8 minutes to go shop. I'm going to pay for everybody at the same time. And then after they shop, there'll be one last event before I let them free to go to their host homes. And I'm not going to tell you what that event is, but they're going to hate the result of it. And I'm going to think it's really funny. And you'll probably think it's really funny too. But so there'll be that event. And then they'll go to their host homes. So roughly 7:05 to 8:10 would be at their host homes. What I would like to do is I would like to say at least for church, for the group that's cooking at the church. So the 4 host homes are my home, the Rona's home. Gabe is leading the kitchen at the church, and then the Olstad home. Gabe's group, you're the closest to the church, so you've got a huge advantage. So you can't take that advantage. So your cooking time, if you could keep your cooking time to about 55 minutes, that'll be what everybody else will have. Once we get back to the church, once you prepare your meal, Your job is then to clean up at the host home. If there's any containers that you need, be ready to at least give them back to somebody that's at the church at the end of the night and have them clean as well. And then you're at the host home, and the one thing that I would just say at the host home is, like, if your host home says, I've got some salt, I've got some pepper, fine, that's fine, you can use that, but like, no taking items from, say, if they've got a garden and it's too early to be gardening right now, but they might have had something from last year's garden, right? No taking items from their garden, no taking items from their pantry nothing. Don't add anything from them. You're just there to use their kitchen, really, is what you're there to use. And I would just try to encourage that the adults that are there, if you want to help, like, if you're the host home, if you're the driver, the chaperone, help the students as much as they need when it comes to the cooking prep. And if it seems like they need a lot of help, give them a lot of help. If it seems like that they're doing good without the help, that's just fine too then. So then after that, we'll ask that you leave your host homes by about 10 after 8. At 10 after 8, come back to the church. 3 things will happen at the church. First, the food will be judged. So I've got a way that we'll score the meals. And basically each student will get to vote for their favorite, but they're not allowed to vote for their own. Same with the adults. So there'll be 3 things that people will be voting on, but it won't be theirs. But somehow I've got to just to make sure that each team gets the same number of votes as the others. That's the one thing that I've got to make sure that happens. And then I should have said this. The other rule that I would just say is, when you're at Target, you're going to get like 8 minutes to go shopping. Your team should all stay together as you go shopping. They shouldn't go and scatter. Hey, you get the butter, you get the, it shouldn't be like that. They should all go together. That's really what I was trying to have happen. And I will have contacted Target by then, so that Target knows that, hey, there's going to be a group that's coming through really quick, but that should not be a problem at all. And then you'll come back to the church, food will be judged, then it'll be eaten, and then at the end of the night there will be a brief devotional testimonial. At our last night of high school youth group, we spent the night talking about the value of testimonies and starting to write out our testimonies, and I have asked one of our students to share. I'm still not sure if they're gonna, but I've asked. I think that's all that you need to know. So thanks for hosting, thanks for driving, thanks for playing. It's going to be a lot of fun, and hopefully this sets up our summer in a great direction.